Caleb Jones plays for the Hawks. He's there. They're brothers. We're coming into this draft talking about the Hughes brothers potentially playing for the New Jersey Devils. It's reality. You've got Seth and Caleb together. Seth is obviously the headliner. What a player. What kind of an impact, Bruce, does he have on Chicago right away?
Well, he's going to have the same kind of impact I think a young Hedman would have made on Tampa. Like, I mean, he's that valuable. He plays in every situation. Power play, penalty killing, 4-on-4, last minute of games. Anytime you want somebody out there, Seth Jones is going to be out there, and it's something Chicago hasn't had since the Stanley Cup years of 2015. So I think this is a huge step for the Hawks because they got good young forwards, except for Patrick Kane, who's just good. And
how dare you?
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I will walk off this set.
No, I love Patrick Kane, except
just good.
When he's scoring hat tricks every night against teams that I coach.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
so that was why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
right.
but I just think whatever team gets him wins the lottery.
That's special. That's high praise from a guy who coached against him. Reader, the fact that Seth Jones has been in the top 5 in time on ice every season he's been in the National League, and unforgettably, in that 5-overtime playoff game against the eventual Stanley Cup champs, he played 65 minutes. The value of knowing that you've got a blue liner who is virtually never going to get tired. Talk to us.
I think the biggest thing, and Bruce could probably comment more on this, but for Jeremy Colton, he's got a guy who's he can trust. And for a coach and even for teammates, when you're on the ice with a guy you can trust, you know what he's going to do, and you know he's going to do it all the time, and you know it's going to be the right play. And you know, if he does make a mistake, he's going to make up for it tenfold, so you don't have to worry about it. And when you're on a team and you've got a guy like that, I guarantee you, when Seth Jones' name's called to go on the ice, you're going to have Kane, Taves when he's back going, I'm going. Like, don't even think of putting anybody else out there. Bruce, you know this. The forward line's called, the defenseman's out there. Duncan Keith's out there in the heyday, guarantee you. That was Taves and Kane are like, they're already going on the ice. Right. And the guys see, hey, when I'm on the ice, and I knew we had like a Rob Blake or someone in Colorado, and I'm on the ice, I know I'm getting off because I didn't even have to look. I saw Sakic and Forsberg standing up to go, and then they were on different lines.
I love
and they wanted to go. But that's the way it is. And that's what, you put a guy like Seth Jones on that team, your offensive guys are just drooling. They're like, awesome. I know I'm a forward. I don't play 30 minutes, but I will play 30 minutes tonight if he plays 30 minutes. And the trust part of the coach and the player, the trust part that your forwards, your offensive guys, your power play guys, you just trust that he's going to make the right play because he's an all-star. He is that good. And then that just kind of seeps down through the team. And then the other side of that, you've got young guys and you've got other, you know, your guys trying to elevate themselves in their careers and to move up in the lineup. They're practicing every day. Now, I know you don't practice as much, but we're getting back to some normalcy. So you're practicing every day against Seth Jones. I was very fortunate in my career, early in my career. I got to practice against Ray Bourque on a day-in, day-out basis, on a regular basis. And there was no harder guy to play against in practice than Ray Bourque. And you ask anybody who played with him, you go through the lineup of guys. I finished my career with Adam Foote, Rob Blake, and Ray Bourque. And we practiced hard in Colorado because the harder you practice, the harder you're going to play. And when you're practicing against a guy like this, you don't want to get him. You know, you're doing one-on-ones. You don't want him to take the puck off you by center on every rush. You become better. You work one-on-ones in the corner. You don't want to lose every one-on-one battle to Seth Jones or Ray Bourque. You become better. How am I going to be able to protect the puck? Okay, I'm going to beat you. And you might beat him one of every 3 or 4 if you're lucky type thing, because usually they'll win. But you beat him and you're like, all right, now you're going up against anybody else in the league. You're like, you're not even close to what I go up and practice day in and day out. So how can I not be better? And that's what having to go against the best player every day in practice makes everybody on the team so much better. So it's a win. It's a huge win for Chicago, and they're going to be a better team, no question, moving forward.
I love when Reader shares philosophy, because what you just heard is the genesis of a President's Trophy and a Stanley Cup. The way he just talked. That's how the 01 Avs became an historic team. Remarkable stuff. There's a tweet I'm hearing from our own Kevin Weeks. The Jones package includes Boquist, 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick. Interesting. Bruce, in terms of value, from Columbus's perspective, does this seem like an equal value trade, considering just how special Jones is and how coveted he was by so many teams?
Well, as a coach, okay, you're looking at the players. First-round picks really don't come to me. You know, I don't know what numbers they are and everything else, and it's probably one this year, one next year, and that. But Boquist for Jones is really not fair value.
Okay.
And so, I mean, and people are saying it, and they're always wrong when they say, oh, this draft doesn't have some good players, or it's not a strong draft and that, but they're always wrong. But I do believe that player for player, for this year anyway, that Chicago was better than Columbus in the deal this year. You know, if the draft choices turn out to be extraordinary players, then, you know, that you'd have to reevaluate it in a few years. But for right now, I think it was an easy win for Chicago.
You know, I heard one coach tell me one time, he said, don't talk to me about draft choices, because that's going to be the next coach's problem. Right now, it's not my problem.
100%.
By the time that guy's on the team, I'm not going to be here anymore.
You know, one more thing is, I'm just trying to think ahead. You know who would look good on Jones's left side as a defenseman, and it wouldn't cost him anything, is the guy that lives 2 hours up the road, Ryan Suter. And if you want to get better in a hurry, those two could be still believe that Suits can play well enough to be in a top 2 role. So, I mean, I don't know what the plans are, but that's something. May as well start that little rumor board right now.
There you go. Those two first-rounders and a second with Boquist does make it seem a little
more palatable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there had to be more to it for Seth Jones than a pick, a first-rounder, and Adam Boquist. And this is nothing against Boquist. It's just Seth Jones is too good. If you look at what the Ristolainen package was with Buffalo and Philadelphia, there was more involved in that. But 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder and Adam Boquist makes more sense, because that's those 2 first-rounders, like you said, Bruce, they could be, you know, they could be like big-time players come 3 or 4 years.